do here is go back.
What's going on, and welcome to another edition of Oil and Gears. Today I'm going to teach you how to fix the Blox Racing Intake that you've installed in your first Gen Scion XB, because just putting it in just like this is going to throw a P0171 lean code. So let's get to it. So when I installed this intake, I wasn't driving my Scion very often, but once I did, I received the P0171 lean code, and I started getting messages of people who were also getting that same lean code as well. So just like everybody else, I started changing the valve cover gasket, throttle body gasket, intake manifold gasket, because this code says that you have a vacuum leak. I also changed the purge valve solenoid, the PCV valve, and nothing. I took it to my mechanic. He couldn't find it. He did a smoke test. He did a fuel pressurized test to see if the fuel pump was going bad. Then I realized that it was this. This is what caused the lean code. So now I'm going to teach you two ways. One, using existing materials you have in your garage, or two, ordering materials to fix the problem. All right, so you probably have the same setup as I do. So you have your velocity stack, your coupler, your MAF airflow sensor, and you have your other coupler here. And this is the culprit right here. So the inner diameter of this housing is too large, and there's unmetered air going into your system, and that's what's causing the computer to say that you're having a vacuum leak. So how do we fix that? So this is going to be the first way to fix that problem with what you have in your garage at the moment. All right, so what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to take the coupler off here in the front. All right, now that we have this off, we can put that off to the side. So I'm gonna grab my digital caliper and show you the inner diameter of just this alone. So this alone says that it is 58.7 millimeters, okay? Which is too big. Now, if I take the factory OEM intake from the car, and I measure the diameter, inner diameter, it says 55.8. So just those 2.5, 3 millimeters makes a big difference to the computer. So there's air going in there and it's not being metered. So what do we do to fix this? So what you'll need to do is you'll need to grab your factory intake. So if you notice on the inside, it has this like wire mesh. You're gonna need to take that out. So once you've taken it out, there is gonna be a plastic piece that connects to this here. So, and it's actually removable, and it's the same diameter as where the mass airflow sensor is on the original factory. So this is what you need here. So you're able to take that off. So once you take it off here, it's not gonna look like this. It actually has a square piece like this, and that's what hooks in on the inside. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab that and you're gonna cut that square piece off, and you're just gonna have this alone. Once you have this, you grab your mass airflow sensor just to get the right cut. You'll put it here just like that, and you'll make the cut. So you'll need to make sure that you get the same diameter as this here, but a little bit bigger, because this is going to squeeze into this right here. In the front, there's going to be this grid here. You can take that off, but what I did was I left just the edges on like that. You can see that there. You can leave those edges on, because what I added was this honeycomb to make sure that the air going through is straight and there's no turbulence. So once you've cut this from your factory air box, you'll grab the original that you've already bought. You're also going to need to grind down the end right here, and it would keep this steady and not go into your engine. So this lip here actually helps when installing it, because it's not going to slide back front or backwards. So once you're able to do that, you slide that in, and if you notice, it won't slide in anymore. And that's what it looks like there. Now you can glue this in here if you like, just for added protection. But this lip here, if you grind it down the right way, it's not going to move at all. And you won't have any type of pieces going in. But you also have to make sure that once you grind this down, that you sand down any little pieces of material. You are going to have to make some small cuts here, just because once you fit it through here, there's going to have to be some rounded edges for your mass airflow sensor to go through. And that would just slide in just like that. So now that you have that in there, you can take your velocity stack with the coupler, and you're able to put it over just like that. So once you have it over, you can tighten it down, and that's what it's going to look like on the inside. I don't know if you can see it. All right, so now that you have the coupler in there and you've tightened it up, I grabbed my honeycomb, and I'll have the link in the description of where you can get this. And I was able to add it right here inside the velocity stack. And since I did leave those little pieces on the edge of that intake from the factory, it's able to stay in there once I put it in there just like that. Now that you've put everything together, install it back into your first Gen Scion XB. Make sure you unplug the battery, that way the ECU resets, and you should not receive any more codes after doing this. Now, if you don't want to use the factory box to do this type of install, you cannot buy a mass airflow sensor housing that's going to be a 2-inch inner diameter for this intake. You are able to buy an aluminum housing that is about 12 inches that you can cut in half, and then you can probably take it to a muffler shop. You'll have to buy a MAV airflow sensor flange to have it welded on there, and I'll have links in the description of where you can get all this material. So that could be another way of fixing this problem if you don't want to use your factory airbox. So now that we have the Blox intake installed, I've been driving the car for about a week now. You can see that my engine is warmed up, my emissions readiness is complete, so I've been driving the appropriate driving cycles. Up here is our long-term fuel trim, and then our short-term fuel trim. You want to make sure those are between -10 and +10. Fuel trims above +10 on either side will give you the code of P0171. Anything below -10 on either side will be a rich code. Once you reconnect your battery, you have to make sure that you drive your car for a while so your ECU can learn the new system. There you have it, a quick, easy fix for your Blox Racing cold air intake. And this could probably help with other intakes that you get. The inner diameter by the mass flow air sensor has to be 2 inches. Anything bigger than that, where the mass airflow sensor is going to cause a code and unmetered air to go in. So anything before or anything after that point can be any size, but there where the mass airflow sensor is has to be 2-inch diameter for the scionxb. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you on the flip side. Peace.